What's up, guys? It's Marco. This is Fascia.com, Fascia Health and Wellness, and I'm going to go straight into the video because today I am going to be speaking about one of my great mentors, a great woman, a healer, a practitioner, an original thinker, a big thinker, and someone that I owe so much of my career and my ideology and my philosophies, really opened my eyes to practicing, to what the human body was. And that is none other than Dr. Ida Rolf and her book, Rolfing, Reestablishing the Natural Alignment and Structural Integration of the Human Body for Vitality and Well-Being. And it's a very long title, but if you find yourself in pain, if you find yourself in shoulder pain, lower back pain, foot pain, and you've gone everywhere and you don't know what to do, and you're interested in these subjects of fascia, of alignment, of posture, of muscle imbalances, of these things that ail us, this is a wonderful book. It is the perfect mix of anatomy, science, and layman's terms. And I read this book many years ago, maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago. And every once in a while, just pick it up and read a chapter and kind of check in with Dr. Ida Rolf. But before we get into the book, I am not a Rolfer. I've never gone to Rolfing school. I'll get into more of why. There's a reason why I never went there. But I have the utmost respect for Dr. Ida Rolf, even though she's no longer with us. The ideas in this book are revolutionary and maybe more relevant today than ever before. I think this book was published in 1977. I think they did a republish in 1989 or something like that. I don't know what's inside of this book, the ideas in this book, again, to talk about it, have just like when you break some glass, but you don't just like shatter the glass, you kind of just like put a little tinks in it, and that the crack just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That was this book for me. I remember reading this book, and she was the first person to tell me that upper back problems and shoulder issues were coming from the stomach. And I remember thinking, man, this lady's stoned. What is she's smoking the good stuff? But my God, over seeing more and more humans and more bodies and working with more people, I think maybe years down the line, I came like, oh my God, dude, everything else didn't work. Nothing else really worked, like long term. Like they were still coming back. Like, you do the corrective exercises, you would do your thing, and they would still come back. And then finally, I was like, all right, well, maybe Ida Rolf stuff, maybe she was, and then you start working the stomach, and then it was like on for me at least. But let's get into the book. I'll change the view. This book it's just a beautiful book. When you see a layout like this and just all the wonderful illustrations, there's so many illustrations in here, like this one right here, like this one, like this ability to pull yourself up. This picture is so great to illustrate what we're feeling and what we're seeing in our society around us, to our friends, the way we see our friends, the way we see ourselves, even in the mirror. We're just discombobulated. And she's saying that gravity is a force. And I think that's what this chapter, and we'll get into it. But we'll just start here. And the idea that gravity is a force, I remember thinking to myself verbatim, what the heck does gravity have to do with human health? Thinking to myself, like, this is crazy talk. Like, but my God, does gravity have a major impact in your health? And if you don't believe me, if you don't really believe me, I want you to walk around and look at someone that is older, that's someone that has gotten to the 80s and 90s or even the 70s, even late 60s, and you tell me that gravity is not a force in human health, biomechanics, and just overall organ placement, and just the list goes on and on and on. And this was 1977 that this work was published. This is just one video we're going to do about Ida Rolf. We have a lot to say about this. We have a lot to talk about as far as structural integrity and fascia and posture and all these things. But this is just one video that I wanted to kind of push out to just kind of honor this woman, honor this one woman who was brave enough to put her ideas out there. And it's incredible. Look at this one right here. This one right here. This is a great picture to depict, what we see sometimes, even with young clients, with young kids. I remember being at a football game and just looking at someone's kid run around and be like, oh man, like that. Look at their adductors just pulling on them, but this lady did it, man. But I want to come back. Look at this one. Look at this picture right here. This picture was huge for me. This picture is as relevant today as ever. 1977. This picture has spanned the test of time to reach you right now. If you're watching this picture right here, how something in the hip, something in your iliacus, something in your glute, something in your psoas, something in your QL can pull, and it's going to affect everything else. It's going to pull this stuff down this way. This is major. And this was probably one of the first times that I saw an illustration to kind of paint that picture for me. And it was big. It was a big deal. But I want to go back. I want to go back in the book because there is a specific page here, and I'm going to attempt to read it. All right. At the age of 10, Johnny roller skated down a flight of concrete steps, bumping down the last 6 on his derriere. Since he broke no bones, Mama thought no damage was done. But at 11, Johnny could no longer keep up with his contemporaries in athletics. He couldn't even sit cross-legged. By 15, his knees were hurting. By 16, he was getting very heavy-hipped. By 17, he was sent to a doctor to find out what disease was affecting his knees and his walking. Eventually, the doctor obliged and gave it a name. At 35, Johnny was trying to get rid of the disease by psychotherapy. Pity the poor psychotherapist. In the meantime, what has happened to Johnny's personality? When a boy can no longer challenge his peers physically, as become obvious in Johnny's physical training program, what happens to his self-image? When he feels inadequate and insecure both consciously and unconsciously, what kind of compensation does he make down the years? Endless psychological problems have been blamed on the insecurity. Unnumbered mothers have wept on being told Johnny feels insecure. You didn't give him love as a baby. This means that mama must shoulder the guilt. But Johnnies without number have felt insecure because they were insecure. And no mama appeared in the picture at all, nor did any guilt. To Johnny, one leg felt longer than the other, not because the bones were longer, but because the time he fell down the stairs, or off the bicycle, or off the roof, he rotated his pelvis. One hip bone, therefore, is slightly forward of the other and or slightly higher. One leg seems longer in addition to this primary problem. I have to stop there because I will never forget reading that. I will never forget reading that in my whole life because that paragraph, what I just read to you, changed my life because it hit me. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens to us. We get injured as a kid. We play junior high school, we play high school football, and you get injured, and you carry that forward 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You carry it for a very long time. Myself, I was 19 years old in the Battle of Fallujah. I was 19 years old as a United States Marine infantryman in the Battle of Fallujah. What did that do to the biological systems inside of my body? What would that have done to my psoas? What would that have done to my iliacus? What would that have done to my fascia? How did my body capture all of that violence? How did my body and my nervous system capture the immense violence that my body, my sphere, my organs, how did my body carry that forward? How has your body carried the traumas, the trials and the tribulations that have happened to you, the person watching this video? For real though, when I read that story, I stopped and I stopped. I probably thought for 20 hours, just sitting there thinking like, oh my God, is this what really happens to us? Then fast forward, you know, we were living in Sacramento at the time, and we were going to this dog park. We had our Weimaraner. His name is Achilles. He's an awesome dog, but he was a puppy back then. And Micah, our son, he's 8 years old now, but he was walking, he was doing his thing, but he wasn't like athletic, and he must have been 3, maybe 4 years old, maybe. And our Weimaraner, I'm there, but I'm watching it all happen. Achilles is dang near full sprint. He's pumping it, and Micah's kind of coming, and then all of a sudden, boing! Achilles just runs him over. Freaking Micah comes back, snaps his neck back. He's just a kid, 3, 4 years old, and he's crying. Obviously, I run over and I pick him up. Buddy, are you okay, buddy? I pick him up, and for the next weeks, months, even years, he just was crying a lot, and I could tell that something had gone wrong. That fear had got into him. That fear had that one experience of Achilles knocking him over, and him feeling that pain, and he was still dealing with it. But me knowing, reading that I had already read this book, and I had already been into body work and really doing my thing, and I just worked on his belly every night. I was working on his belly, psoas, and his hips, but this was a big deal, man. And I hope I didn't get too hypey on us. And I've read this book. I've read this book probably 3 or 4 times. And I got so much away from. I owe her so much, and I did not become a Rolfer. I never went and really explored becoming and learning from the actual Rolfing technique, because I was doing my own thing. Like I was really exploring, how do we get the practitioner out of the situation? That is my contribution to the bodywork world. That is my contribution to society, to this world. How do we teach people to do this stuff to themselves? And if that is what I'm after breaking down the knowledge barriers so that you at home could do the highest level of practicing on yourself. And anything that is not that is the reason why I did not go to osteopath school. I didn't go to medical school. I didn't go to medical school because why would I want to go learn something that is obviously not working and has not been working for the last 50 years? This medical system has really put us through the ringer for 50 years. Why would I want to be a part of that? I want nothing to do with that. I want to teach people how to work on themselves. I want to teach people how to learn their own anatomy and really be able to take that practical application into their home. And so one day, if this does happen to you and life does happen, that you know what to do and you can act upon it, and you can begin to free your fascia and understand your fascia at a very high level. But all right, now let's just go on. I did put some things in here because, again, this wonderful illustration of gravity. Ida Rolf was the first practitioner to really speak about gravity to me, and I'm really just so blessed. But I remember being there listening. Gravity, what does gravity have anything to do with the human body, Dr. Ida Rolf? And then, months and years later, like, oh my God, it has everything to do with the human body. Like these wonderful, wonderful illustrations. This book it's such a special book, man. If you really are looking for something, again, the pulling, problems in the hip, you're going to get them in the shoulder. You keep working on the shoulder, man. You keep working on the shoulder. You keep doing mobility. You keep doing mobility drills to the shoulder. that my shoulder hurts. So you keep focused on the shoulder. Well, this is why it doesn't get why you're not making progress, why you're continuously and you're always working on your shoulder and it's not getting better, because the problem isn't in the shoulder. Okay, it's not the root cause. And I think that, shout out Dr. Ida Rolf again and again. I think her saying and her slogan and her tagline is, where you think it is, it ain't. And that's it right there. Bang. I love it. You know, just the complexity in this beautiful, incredible design of the human body. Just this God is such an architect, is such an engineer, an inventor of these beautiful, incredible fascial sheaths working alongside muscles and ligaments with our fascia, tendons, denser fascia, bones. You could make an argument that bones are just incredibly dense fascia tissue, but hey, like, just incredible. The knowledge is just knowledge here, man. Knowledge. I think Dr. Ida Rolf, and again, I would love to interview and speak to and make friends with some Rolfers and hear their ideas and learn about the philosophy and learn more. But I will say that, this was in 1977. This book was published in 1977. And I will say that from my standpoint, as the founder here, as the founder, co-founder here at Fascia.com, Fascia Health and Wellness, I believe fascia today, fascia work, understanding of the fascial system is more important now than ever. But that is now. Our time here, our issues, our ailments in 2015 to 20 to 25, the ailments that we're suffering from as a society today are different than the humans walking around in 1977. I do not believe that the humans in 1977 had the stimulus that we had today. The stimulus is one of the core issues that I believe we're facing. And yes, it's an issue, and I think there's a couple ways to go about this. You sell everything that you have, and you move to the woods up deep into Northern California in a cabin with no electricity. Hey, that is one option. I think you would be a healthy individual, hunting for your own food, getting your own water, all of that. Or you really have an understanding of this meat suit. You get yourself a foam ball off the website, you get yourself a Theracane, you get yourself some knowledge, and you really start to understand what's going on in today's day and age, in 2025, and moving forward, the problems that we're dealing with today as a society. I believe today, if Ida Rolf came back to life and looked around, she'd be like, oh my God, why are all these anterior pelvic tilts walking around? And I think that it is 100% a stimulus problem, a stimulus issue. I don't even want to call it a stimulus problem, because I do not, there are solutions to every problems, and I'm not that guy. I'm not a fear monger. I am not intimidated by the issues that our society feels today. I'm not intimidated by the issues, the ailments, the things that ails you right now. I believe there is very logical, simple applications that you can do at home to combat anything. I love this. I love this image. I think this is an incredible title. If you understand this area right here, I would, this is it. This is the root. This is who you are in your physiological, your psychology, your anatomy. This is who you are right here. You get to the bottom of this area, you understand the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, the fascial sheaths, the fascia in this area, you would have done something incredible for your own body. For countless years, men have known that the pelvis is of very special and vital importance. The word sacrum means sacred bone. In this physiological locus of personal emotional factors of sexual satisfaction and fertility, ancient Indian tantric physiology recognized the pelvis as the area housing fundamental energy, the seat of the fabulous Kundalini. There were and still are sects who regard the ganglion of impart nerve plexus immediately adjoining the rectum as the seat of the soul. Today, as well as 2,000 years ago, they consider it central to the well-being of an individual and consequently of the race. In the light of present knowledge, with its emphasis on scientific and analytic concepts, can we accept this idea? What correlation of modern scientific thought would substantiate this basic? My God. Oh, man. What a wonderful contribution to the world. What a legacy. Um, I cannot say enough about this book. Again, if you are in pain, if you don't have the answers, if we would love to be a part of your life here at Fascia Health and Wellness, Fascia.com. We'd love for you to get on the website and take a look. But what we would want more than anything is for you to search for the answers. What I personally would love more than anything is for you to continue the search and to not give up on the road to getting well. This is such a big deal. This is your one chance at human existence. And I'm not tapping into my philosopher. I'm not going to put on my philosopher hat but my God, this is her one chance to live this life. And I think it's so sad, when we get into these ailments, life happens and disease shows up or something hurts, and we go to the system and we go to our primary care, and then they refer us to a specialist and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, how many times I've heard this story, because this is my story. This is exactly what happened to me. But that story might sound like it's your story, right? Like, isn't that what happens? You go and then your primary care, then you go to specialist, and the specialist sends you another specialist, and that specialist sends you another specialist. And all of a sudden, by the time that you've hit the 6th and 7th round of the pass off, you're starting to lose hope. 4, 5, 6 medications later, 4 or 5 specialists later, you're starting to lose hope, and you think that this is what it is. This is what life's going to be for you. Your shoulder's going to hurt. You're going to have migraine headaches. You're going to have digestive issues. You can't do anything about it. I got to contain myself, because that is not true. That is just not true. That is not true in any way, shape, or form. There are so many things that you can do for your own health and well-being. And to me, we have arrived. 10 years ago, when we've been trying to do this for literally a decade. We have been trying to do exactly what I'm doing in this video right now. And it took life and God and the universe to put me here in this seat to deliver this message for you. We have entered the golden age of well-being, of health, of wellness. We are here. We have arrived. The right pieces are out here for us to communicate with each other, for you as a person that is suffering to look for answers, to not be satisfied with what you have heard. Oh, you're not, this is it. This is what you're getting. This is the diagnosis that you have. I'm telling you, put that thing in a ChatGPT. Demand, see someone different. Fasting, hydration, light, self-body work, saunas, cold exposure. The list goes on and on. It is, to me, from my perspective, this is, like I said, we weren't here 10 years ago. We weren't here in this level of awareness as a society. But we got to honor the people that we got to honor. I have to honor Dr. Ida Rolf. I owe her a lot. This book is about her. This video is about her. Thank you so much, Dr. Ida Rolf. May you hear this message through the dimensions of time and space. And I thank you so much for cracking my brain open, my mindset, and planting these seeds inside of me that took years to grow, but ultimately have grown. And I will not let you down. I think that the word fascia is a big deal, and owning fascia.com is a big deal to us and our family, and to protect the word and to balance it, and to bring the right amount of science and curiosity and practical application, and really, bring it to the people. That's what we're doing here at Fascia.com. So that's it, man. This video is like 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long. I was trying to do this in 5 or 6 minutes. All right, man, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next videos. Mark with Fascia Health and Wellness, Fascia.com, and I'm out. Peace.